A very warm welcome to my show today. There is plenty happening in our politics. Parliament is back in session. The senators within Jubilee are in a meeting. And the deputy president is hosting, hustler members of parliament at Karen, to discuss the way forward, to strategize. Just to give you a heads up, there'll be plenty of surprises, very shocking things that I'm going to say on our show today. Well worth looking forward to. But allow me a quick aside. So many people are thinking of launching a YouTube channel. And others have already launched their channels. But they've run into problems. No views, no subscribers. Well, I have some good news for you. I have just launched an amazing set of videos on how to start your own YouTube channel. Tricks and tips to get a massive amount of views and subscribers. Even if you already have a YouTube channel, you'll greatly benefit from the unique information, tips and tricks, and secrets, little known secrets, in this set of videos I've produced. And trust me, I've held nothing back. I've given you all my secrets to starting and rapidly growing a YouTube channel. Now I can hear somebody saying, Chris, you're crazy. Why are you giving away your secrets, empowering your competitors? Well, those who have known me for a long time know that I have no qualms sharing information. YouTube is a very big place. There's enough space for all of us. And in any case, from my past experiences, the more I share my personal secrets on how to get ahead, the more secrets I get on how to get ahead myself. And I observed this trend from the days when I was not even on YouTube, sharing business ideas and business tips and tricks, some of which I went through a lot of trouble, trial and error, to be able to discover. But guess what? I ended up with even more brand new tips and tricks and secrets to get ahead. It is the law of the universe. The more you withhold, the more you lack. The more you give, the more you receive. Bottom line, this set of videos on how to start your own YouTube channel and to grow it very quickly has all the valuable information, tips and tricks, secrets that I have at this moment in time and that I've used on this channel and to help others as well grow their channels. This set of videos are available only for $89 or Kenya shillings 8,900 only. It'll be an investment that will grow for you 100-fold. I guarantee it. Because every day I see great videos on YouTube with only 100 views, 20 views, 30 views. And it is simply because the owners of those videos didn't do one or two things that would have dramatically increased the number of their viewers. I want to gift this set of videos to only 20 people, only 20. So you'd better rush. Just send a blank email to the email address you see on your screens and you'll get an automated response giving you full payment details. Go for it right away, so that you don't miss out. Only 20 people will receive this set of videos. Right, let's get on with our show today, which I assure you ni moto kama pasi. Karibu sana. Things are not what they used to be in the old days. For example, you would listen to ordinary Kenyans analyzing politics, and you would learn a lot. And what puzzles me is that in those days, Kenyans were not well educated. And in those days, some of the people breaking down and dissecting local politics were illiterate. I used to know somebody who made quite a good living publishing some gutter press publication totally based on what he used to hear people discussing in bars in Nairobi. And the owner of this publication could not construct a single sentence in English. Yeah, but he hired a young writer and told them in Kiswahili what to write in English. And when you read that analysis, you would say, wow, this has depth. Yeah, this analysis is entertaining. Yeah, and he has a point here and there and there. If this guy was still operating today, he'd make a killing because he would have many resources today which were not there at that time. For instance, the TV stations have very regular talk shows with politicians. Today, this guy would have picked up quite a lot of material. And I'm certain this would also have rubbed off on the quality of political analysis in bars in Nairobi. But look what has happened. That is not the case. Listen to any group of Kenyans discussing politics, and it is a shouting match. No depth. Yeah, and Kenyans are better educated. Some of these people shouting have more than one university degree. So what happened? I don't know. That is a deep mystery. Yeah, maybe you can educate me. Anyway, on today's show, I would like to use the technique this old semi-literate man used to use in the Moi days to analyze politics. And the technique is very simple. You just listen carefully to what powerful politicians are saying. They will tell you their policy. They will tell you what they're planning to do. They will tell you how they're going to deal with their opponent. Not in as many words, of course, but they'll often give you very loud hints. My analysis today is going to be totally based on this technique, so that you cannot say tomorrow, Chris said. No, it is not me who said. I'm analyzing what powerful politicians themselves are telling us. Take a few minutes to listen to what David Murathe and Suba North legislator Millie Adhiambo said recently. Now, Murathe needs no introduction. He is a very powerful voice and a very powerful opinion, deep inside the Jubilee Party, at the highest level of the Jubilee Party, because he advises the President of the Republic of Kenya. Millie Adhiambo is very close to the ODM High Command. So what she says, what her opinion is very close to the opinion of the ODM party. These are just not random politicians I've picked. Just listen in. I'll be back.
The unfortunate thing is people trying to bury their heads in the sand. You can never, history, and we have history, including our own Mau Mau history. And people say you can forgive, but you can never forget. You can never erase that sad situation. And the more you try to run away from that, the more you try to pretend like it never happened, the more people get emboldened and they want to repeat it again and again and again. You have to address these things. They did it in Rwanda. They did the Gachacha courts. People forgave each other. People confessed to the crimes they committed against the people. And the issue of ping pong between Kalenjin, Kikuyu akimaliza, Kalenjin nachukua, Kalenjin akimaliza, Kikuyu nachukua, most likely, and I keep saying this, I've said it before, most likely the deputy president would like to pick a running mate from the Mount Kenya region because of the numbers. And that is a high probability that post the deputy president Kalenjin, you are now looking at another Mount Kenya, Kikuyu taking over. This country has 42 communities. We have some developed countries which have rules of rotational, like Switzerland, some of those in Europe. You have the term limits in the US, where you have even a black person getting an opportunity to become president. So it cannot be monopolized by two communities. This is not ping pong. This is not table tennis. So something has to give. Some way has to be found for people to feel accommodated, for people to feel inclusion. We have about meritocracy, and we have always supported people based on merit. But this is politics, and a way has to be found, a formula has to be found. And I support what the president said in Mululu. You see, in politics, it is not like you're applying for jobs, and therefore it's the qualifications that matter. There's a lot of balancing that needed to be taken into account and into consideration for this feeling. You don't want people to feel excluded from the leadership of their own country. And that is why, if you ask me, and if you ask a lot of Kenyans, I don't think Arati was wrong to say yes. Some other people, maybe we should give that opportunity. However, the president has never said people should not express their democratic right. He has never said a Kikuyu should not run, for that matter. He has never said a Kalenjin should never run, for that matter. He is just pitching in terms of, hey, these guys have got the hustler narrative, the rich versus the poor, blah, blah, blah. So we can also say, fine, why don't we also give other people an opportunity, people who have felt left out since independence? We have shared this thing for over 60 years.
Why didn't the president
between two
have
communities.
that kind of thinking in 2013? Why then? Because it had also come from Kikuyu to Kalenjin. He was another Kikuyu, then another. So this epiphany, when did it hit the president that this is the time to have that conversation? But allow me to take it to Millie, Honorable Odhiambo, on the question of then the Vice Chair Jubilee says we shouldn't bury our heads in the sand, that what Honorable Arati was talking about, seeking an apology from the DP, is a conversation we need to have. Should we be having that conversation now, remembering again the president castigating the DC High when he had brought in witnesses to reopen those cases?
Well, let me just say, before I respond to what you are saying, that I understand Honorable Rigathi and his perspective from where he was sitting. It's not usually very clear when you are seated, but it's much more clearer when you're actually watching, you know, as an onlooker that is watching on the screen or on TV. And perhaps what he didn't see is that Honorable Soro stood up on his own, alone. So there was nothing, especially even going by his body size, that he was going to do to stop a purported surging crowd that we did not see. And at one point, Honorable Simbarati actually told people, do you want me to continue? And there were crowds that were shouting, continue. Of course, there were also others who didn't want him to continue because of the nature of politics. There will always be people in opposition and people in support. But having said that, I just want to say that what the president said, and it's a conversation that many of us in this country feel uncomfortable about, but we should not feel uncomfortable about. He didn't speak about exclusion. He's not talking about excluding the Kikuyu, neither is he talking about excluding the Kalenjin. The president talked about including other tribes. And the best way to include other tribes is to acknowledge that those tribes have not had a chance at the presidency. And for me, the first person that I heard this message from was none other than Bishop Margaret Wanjiru when we were in Reloaded in ODM. And his message was 50 years is enough. And for her, it was 50 years is enough for others to be out of leadership. Let us include others. I also heard it from Honorable Mudama in the past. So it doesn't matter which angle. People have felt the need to speak about these issues, except that when you move and shift, you are divided, then you start becoming uncomfortable. What we need to speak about in this country is how we need to include others and give others a chance. And if we don't talk about that, and I'm very, very happy that I'm on record even before I joined politics, speaking to these issues about inclusion. That's actually my forte, about inclusion, especially of minorities. I would love to see a Turkana as a president. I'd like to see somebody from Mombasa as a president, Kwale, different parts of the country, really, Muluya, Somali.
I believe those of us who are keen enough will now realize that this is a confirmation of what I have been saying on this channel. Yeah, and many people don't understand. Many people think this is just Chris's opinions picked from the air. Some even believe manufactured, in his closet, where he has deep hatred for the deputy president. That is the opinion of some of you. You know, in the old days when we hated Kanu and supported the opposition then, we had a lot of emotion, a lot of hatred against Kanu. But we would still listen to President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi or other Kanu bigwigs speaking. And then we would be able to analyze and predict what Kanu are going to do next against opposition. But these days, the blind rage of Team Tanga Tanga supporters does not allow them to carefully listen to Raila Odinga so as to know what his next move against Team Tanga Tanga is. Something has definitely changed. Anyway, it is clear from what David Murathe said that there is a plan to deal with the deputy president, by revisiting the 2007 tribal clashes. I believe at the end of this show, it will be well worth your while to replay that audio I've just played and listen to Murathe again. Anyway, you will notice that Murathe takes time to give the example of Rwanda. He says they will forgive, but they will not forget. He emphasizes the handshake principle's counter narrative to the hustler narrative. And that is, it is time for other communities to have the presidency. The presidency of Kenya cannot be dominated by two communities. He says that in all likelihood, the deputy president will choose a deputy president from the Mount Kenya region, which means that if the deputy president rises to the presidency, after he completes his term, the front runner for the presidency will be a Kikuyu. And so the seesaw game continues between two communities when Kenya has over 40 other communities. That is a very powerful narrative. It is, in my opinion, a game-shot narrative against the hustler narrative. And there's no doubt about it that the handshake principles and Team Kieleweke are going to work this narrative for all it's worth. And it is going to be effective. It is going to reach the hearts and the minds of Kenyans. Because the vast majority of Kenyans belong to those other over 40 Kenyan communities. Millie Adhiambo agreed totally with Murathe. In her own words, you've heard it for yourself. What that means is that the ODM party and the current Jubilee High Command are reading from the same script as far as strategy, political strategy, is concerned. Now, let's come back to the present. This morning, the deputy president hosted a meeting, which had a very interesting title, Hustler Parliamentary Group Meeting. As I make this recording, on the other hand, Jubilee senators are meeting, and Parliament resumes after the December holidays this afternoon. all those three events are linked. As I've said in too many videos already, Team Tanga Tanga is in crisis. Yes, they're still swimming, but they're swimming within the confines of a fisherman's net. Sooner or later, that fisherman's net will tighten, and they'll be trapped politically. So they have to move fast because their political opponents have already organized in quick succession several moves that will completely end this Team Tanga Tanga versus Team Kieleweke political duel. In other words, put Team Tanga Tanga out of action forever. And we can already see very clearly where the Team Kieleweke moves are going. Former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko has already been neutralized politically. There seems to be a plea bargain move, already in the works, involving one Kalonzo Musyoka. And there are no prizes for guessing that plea bargain will involve Sonko not being active politically. 6 nominated Jubilee senators have been expelled. In other words, they are gone. They are out of a job. If we can put our emotions aside for a minute, there is nowhere in the world where you get nominated by a certain political party and then you start fronting or actively campaigning for the political objectives of another political party. There is nowhere in the world where that happens. But in Kenya, it has been happening for quite a long time, for many months. But finally, Jubilee have taken action. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Nowhere in the world do we have a deputy president who is actually the opposition, the de facto opposition of the very government that deputy president is a deputy president in. Nowhere in the world that happens. But it has been happening in Kenya. And now, the Jubilee High Command is going to take action. And in my opinion, it is not a viable argument to say that yes, we oppose the High Command, but we are part of Jubilee. We are paid up members of Jubilee. And therefore, we are allowed to be associated with the UDA, another political party, to campaign with another political party, because we are part of Jubilee and nobody can remove us from Jubilee. We are part and parcel of Jubilee. Does that make sense to you? Bila emotions, does that make sense to you? Really? And then from Murathe's words, carefully analyzed, reading between the lines, there are a lot of other things that are going to happen to the deputy president and Team Tanga Tanga. In my humble opinion, it makes perfect sense to finally resolve the 2007 manenos before President Uhuru Kenyatta finishes his term and leaves power. I believe it is critical. If the president finishes his term and leaves things as they are, where everybody is trying very hard to pretend nothing happened, then it will be unfinished business that can come back to haunt our politics in a bad way. Therefore, it is for the good of every Kenyan that this issue is finally resolved. And I believe there are telltale signs that the Jubilee High Command, the handshake principles, are thinking exactly how I'm thinking. If we were to take David Murathe's statements seriously, and I take them very seriously. So, now that those doubting Thomases have finally accepted and agreed that Team Tanga Tanga is in crisis, let us discuss the only move they have left, which is close to being viable, but not quite. There is talk of a mass resignation of Team Tanga Tanga politicians if any attempt is made to impeach the deputy president. Now, resigning is very easy. Writing a resignation letter will take you 2 minutes. 5 minutes tops. That part is easy. But the hard part are the consequences of such a move. It could cause an immediate general election, an early general election for parliamentary seats countrywide. Now, let's be careful here. There is a very huge difference between political hot air and political reality. Now, political hot air can be very convincing. It can even burn you. Oh, yes. But it is not political reality. Let me give you a solid, very relevant example. The political hot air currently is that the deputy president is very popular countrywide, and especially in those constituencies where the members of parliament belong to Team Tanga Tanga. That is the political hot air. And it could be true. That's not the point. It could be true. However, when somebody resigns their parliamentary seat, there is a process before the next elections can be held. There's party nominations. During party nominations, nobody will be discussing the BBI. People will be discussing development in that constituency and what the current member of parliament has done so far, development-wise. That is the political reality. So any member of parliament handing in the resignation, the first thought that will come to them is that I have to go through nominations. And let me tell you, in case you didn't know, nominations is usually harder than the real election. Nominations in Kenya is actually the real election. So they're not sure they're going to go through that. And the reality of politics is that if Team Tanga Tanga sees a more popular politician on the ground, they will dump this one who has resigned and go with that popular one. It's not personal, it's just politics. The political reality. And even after they go through that nomination, assume they go through, there'll be the elections proper. And in the elections proper, I guarantee you, there'll be no discussion about BBI. No. The political reality is that everybody will be discussing development in the said constituency. People will also be discussing something else every current legislator fears, and that is the response of the legislators, of the member of parliament of that constituency, to the COVID crisis. People lost their jobs. They're back in the villages. What did the MP do? How did the MP help the villagers to recover from this crisis, which they're still in? Now, we all know that the Team Tanga Tanga legislators were busy with Team Tanga Tanga business, promoting the deputy president's 2022 presidential bid. That is where they were spending most of their time. They were busy there, not with the constituents. Sasa hapo ndo kitaumana kuumana. And chances are that there'll be an independent candidate who will convince the electorate that they can do better. Therefore, parliamentary seat gone. Just like that. Gone. And there's yet another concern, maybe the biggest, for these legislators who claim they will resign en masse. Every legislator in Team Tanga Tanga knows that the deputy president does not have the reins of power in his hands the way he did in 2017. And therefore it is very possible, that they can do everything right. But then at the ballot, somebody more powerful does a pop, duly elected. There's a possibility that the constituency election will be rigged. There are very many other reasons why a member of parliament cannot bear to think of resigning. But let me just stop there. So when you tell a Team Tanga Tanga member of parliament in a Team Tanga Tanga meeting at Karen that we all resign en masse, several of them will say, hapana, hebu tufikirie kidogo. Surely, hakuna idea ingine ati to resign sote? I'm sorry, Deputy President, siko tayari. Unajua constituency yangu, huko elections ni moto. Hapana, I'm not ready, I'm sorry. Let's think of something else. But my friend, there's nothing else. Me could resign. Let me think about it. Friends, that is the political reality, as opposed to political hot air. I've been trying to rack my brains to come up with ideas of what Team Tanga Tanga can do to reverse things, to get out of this crisis. And to be very honest with you, I can't think of anything. There are things that they would have done earlier, but now it is too late. Some of these things, indeed in life, you have to think through everything you're doing well ahead of where you are right now. You need to be a giraffe to succeed in life. Life is such that we do things very casually, which seem to be no big deal, but they come back later to haunt us in a major way. For instance, you could have a side chick and get her pregnant, no big deal. And then many years later, when you have long forgotten that encounter, you pass on, and your family is forced to sell that tiny piece of land, all they have, so that they share the proceeds with this other woman and your love child. In my view, Team Tanga Tanga focused so much on the political hot air, which they were very effective at, and completely ignored the political reality. And now they have to deal with the political reality. And it is too late to do anything. Yes, they may have more members of parliament, but then they're dealing with the state. Well able to wave files and do all kinds of things to swing the vote in their favor. The powerful government. The powerful government is the political reality. And now, clearly, we're going to see a contest between political hot air and political reality. Who do you think is going to win? If you've enjoyed my video, please remember to give me a like. If you didn't enjoy my video, because you think I'm against Team Tanga Tanga, I'm sorry. Come back tomorrow. Maybe you'll agree with me. Because I don't have any emotions invested in any side of the political divide. Maybe Deputy President William Samoei Ruto will pull a rabbit out of the hat. Who knows? Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.